Welcome to not exactly a full restore, but a very in-depth cleanup, derusting, and proper setup of this Squire Vintage Modified Telecaster Special, which I paid more than I should have for, especially considering the awful shape it was in, but I wanted to review it real bad, and I'm not at the point where people offer me gear to review just yet, so yeah. Plus, it was the perfect testing ground for a bunch of stuff that I wanted to try, stuff that I'll be sharing along the way, some of which even granted separate videos of their own, and I will be uploading those after this one. You will notice that some of the footage is sped up. That's because this was a full-on 4-day job, and I know it doesn't look that bad from these images, but you'll see, it was a lot of work, definitely more than the guitar itself is worth, but I ended up keeping it and selling my other tellies, so make of that as you will. Also, these were shot in sequence, full process from beginning to end, so that you can step into my miserable shoes and feel my pain. I will comment on whatever's relevant along the way, and if you see my hands moving in a way that doesn't match what I'm saying, it's because originally these were all Instagram stories that I annoyed dozens of people with for 4 straight days, and that I am now commenting over. I will split this into episodes because otherwise it would take way too long for anyone to endure. But yeah, I'm gonna stop babbling now and let's completely gut this thing down to the last filthy rust covered screw. And right away, as I was removing the strings, you could tell that something was off with this guitar just by touching it and holding it like it had been exposed to humidity. And yeah, what do you know? Moment I take the back plate off the neck plate, you can see this green shit, which to my eyes, that's copper carbonates or sulfates. And yeah, looking at the back of the neck plate, it seems like it's got some copper to it. So copper reacts with the air, with the humidity, with the sulfites in the air, and you get this green crap, which, whatever, it's surface stuff. It's gonna come off. It's just on the finish. But the thing is, this tells me that this guitar has been exposed to humidity, which means I'm gonna find all sorts of crap all over the place, besides the rust and tarnish that we've already seen so far. Which, I mean, just do not keep your guitar in humid places. That's just shit waiting to happen, because this same stuff could be happening inside your pickups right now, or some screw on the bridge, and all of a sudden you're playing, your bridge just fucking snaps out of nowhere, and on top of that, you have half a screw stuck inside a body, or maybe a couple of them. And I've seen that happen, and it sucks. So yeah, stay away from humidity. Next thing that I found, I mean, just look at her. Isn't she beautiful? Okay, for those of you who don't know, this is supposed to be a neck shim. What's a neck shim? Well, a neck shim is some sort of a supplement that you put in your neck pocket when the neck pocket has been cut poorly and creates a bad neck angle. Like, for instance, in this case, if it's like this, that means you have to lower the saddles more than the base plate allows you. So you add this supplement to correct for that. Okay, in this case, you can see that there's enough room to keep going down on the setup, which at this point I already knew it was necessary. But yeah, anyway, this thing is supposed to correct for that. Okay, so first thing you notice about this shim, let's call it, is that it's a little piece of sandpaper. So I doubt this came from factory. This was probably an awful setup. And whoever did this disaster didn't even consider that this is basswood. It's a softish wood. It's not a very hard wood. So the thing just made a dent inside the hole here, inside the cavity. So it's basically doing nothing, because first thing it did is just, it just smooshed the thing. And yeah, it's doing nothing. But regardless of that thing, you are not supposed to have uneven points of contact inside here. You're supposed to fill the whole cavity. First, because vibration transfer, full wood-to-wood coupling leads to, better tone, better sustain, call it whatever. But also because standing on these two separate points creates an uneven contact. Okay, you're standing on the back of the neck and on the front edge where the neck meets the body, and there's nothing in between. And luckily, this has never happened to me, but I've heard from enough techs, finding these little things and little pieces of credit cards and crap that later lead to deformations, first on the bottom of the neck, but then eventually they get, they show up at the top in the form of bumps and twists and things that mean you have to remove the frets and re-level the whole thing. So you don't want that. What you want is one of these. This is a proper neck shim. I got this one from StewMac, but you can get them from many places. These are like $10. And yeah, they are what you're supposed to use. These are graded. This is 1/4 of the degree that you can barely tell by looking at it, but it is what it is. And that's much better than this grab. You have quarters of degrees, half a degree, full degree, and you can see that they are shaped as, they have the same shape as the neck pocket, okay? This is rounded on the back. It is not square like this one. So you can cut along that little line that it's got if you're going to use it on a Tele, or leave it as is if you're going to use it on a Strat, or basically like a Jazzmaster or a Jaguar. And yeah, that's it. That tells you exactly what adjustment you are performing, and it's going to fit exactly in that shape, and is perfect wood to wood contact. I mean, it's much better than just, doing it yourself with a piece of credit card. Now, bunch of people actually use these on Jaguars and Jazzmasters so that they can increase the neck angle, so that they can then lift the bridge and get a more pronounced string break angle of the saddles, which it just covers for a poor setup. You don't need one of these to set up a Jaguar or Jazzmaster right, but that's for now the video that I promise I'm gonna make, but that's, beyond the point. The point I'm trying to make is use one of these if you need to do a correction, so, you take care of your neck and you don't ruin it forever, you don't deform it. And yeah, but at this point, I am not thinking about using it because I think I can get away with the setup, and that's a little bit of foreshadowing about stuff that, well, we don't have to worry about just yet. Anyway, next thing. And this is not only a very basic one, but probably one of the best tips anyone could ever give you about how to take care of your instrument. See how this screwdriver bit is just standing there? It's because it matches. It matches the screw. Every time I am screwing or unscrewing something, I check that it matches. Also, make sure that it's the right size, because this thing matches as well, but I'm not going to get enough torque, and I'm going to slip, and I'm going to strip something. And no, just take a moment to think what tool you're going to use. You choose one of these, or you have your can with screwdrivers or whatever, and you try to match one. The moment you find a perfect match, that's the tool you're going to use. It seems like a waste of time, but you're going to save so much time and so much trouble with that, because if you've ever had to try to remove a screw that is completely stripped on the head without damaging the wood, it's a bitch to do. You don't want to have to do that. So yeah, that's please keep that in mind. I've seen enough fucked up screws to know that. Yeah, that's a great way to take care of your instrument, and that allows you to do these kind of things over and over again, as many times as you want, without destroying the guitar. All right, next thing, and this one's gonna be beautiful, because we're gonna look underneath the bridge, and of course we're gonna find dirt, because you can see there's dirt everywhere. But also everything here is dirt, is rusty. Like, it doesn't seem that bad on that plate, but it kind of is. This green and brown shit everywhere. It's stuck to the paint. It's kind of a pain to remove sometimes. These screws, they're hidden underneath this. They barely have contact with the rest of the universe. They should not be like that. And at this point, I'm starting wondering when one of the coils is gonna kick it. Thankfully, it hasn't happened yet. And now that I own this guitar, I know it's not gonna be a human environment, but I don't know. Sometimes rust just keeps going for a while. So yeah, just do not risk it. You don't gamble it. It's kick it, set it on fire, do whatever. Just, I don't know, spend $50 on the tone cap, but don't do this shit. Like humidity is the worst fucking thing ever for an instrument. Period. So anyway, let's keep on wiping and cleaning and obsessing about, looking into every single nook and cranny where I can find gunk and dirt to bitch about. But also, I like looking underneath this type of pickups to see what I'm dealing with, because in this case I have foam and a spring, and a couple springs, so I don't have to worry about the foam collapsing over time and, losing all the adjustment range you have for the height of the pickup. But on many of them, the thing just compresses and loses its elasticity, so you need to supplement it with something, and this is a great chance to do so. Like, I've done it on Lipstep pickups, on my own P-Bass, on many pickups that you just supplement it with a piece of, I don't know, foamy double-sided sticky tape or something like that. That works great. And I'm also looking at details because, yeah, I'm going to review the guitar, so there's that as well. Also, I put this tape here to hold this pickup in place, even though I did not flip the guitar, because you never know when you're going to distract and flip it over and the thing just falls. And there's a bunch of things that can go wrong. Mainly here, see the thickness of that wire? That's the wire that's inside the coil. That's what constitutes the coil. That's why they literally have thousands and thousands of turns. So if the thing falls and it smacks into anything and you cut one of those, I mean, I've fixed a couple, but it's a bitch to do. And there I go and drop it. Jeez. Anyway, it's a bitch to do. So you'd rather just every time you're gonna do something, you're gonna forget about it, just get distracted. Masking tape on everything is cheap and it's fucking magical. So yeah, like this. See, a masking tape everywhere in case you just drop something and you break something. You feel like such a douche when that happens, knowing that you could have prevented a disaster by sticking a piece of tape. So yeah, when in doubt, tape everything. Okay, so I'm focusing on the origin here because caught my eye that it says Cortec on the Switch, which seems to be the original, which means this came from the Cortec factory in Indonesia, which you can actually Google, but that's what geeks like myself like to do, like find little clues that tell you a little bit more about the guitar. Like, this is not going to become a collectible anytime soon, but still cool to notice. Here's another cool tip. If you don't want to disassemble the whole thing, but you want to know what kind of pots it has, you can look at the reflection on this control plates. It says A250K, which means it has a run-of-the-mill audio taper 250K pot, as it should, but sometimes that is not the case, and you start to question that, especially when you find that it doesn't have the same two pots because somebody fucked with this, probably because humidity ruined the previous one, and one of these knobs was actually poking taller than the other one because you can tell not only are they not the same, they didn't even bother like matching heights with nuts or washers or whatever. I mean, no real surprises there. Just by looking at the soldered joints, you can see that not a bunch of love went into replacing that pot. So yeah, if anything, it's a miracle that the other one survived whatever awful conditions this was in. Because if there's anything that's gonna ruin your electronics, is collecting gunk and dirt and humidity. But it's not something that is at the top of everybody's priorities. So yeah, at least the wiring looks, I don't know, kind of decent. I didn't have to rewire anything else after that. So yeah. Anyway, time to move on. Keep on removing nuts and washers, and anything that can be saved is saved because I like, keeping guitars as original as possible. Even though this is a Squire, I mean, anything that I can save, I like doing it. Okay, so yeah, and I get to this point where I see quite the opposite from the previous owner, and I know I said basswood is not exactly the hardest of woods, but dude, what the fuck? I mean, we've all dropped a guitar at some point, but dude, see that hole? I mean, look at this. This is a normal strap bottom. This is a front one. The back is perfectly flat. Look at the bottom one. I mean, that's one hell of a smack. No wonder it left that dent. This is not exactly the hardest of metals, but it isn't soft either, like by any stretch of imagination. Look at the difference. I mean, to get it to bend like that was one hell of a bump. I mean, this guitar looks like this guitar can take a hit, and this was definitely one of them. So anyway, here comes one of my favorite parts of the process, which is setting aside all the hardware that I'm going to be cleaning later. I don't know why, but I find it kind of therapeutic. What I don't find therapeutic is inspecting this neck. Starting with this ding here, which it bugged me to no end. I have since moved on, but I almost backed out of the purchase just because of that. Then, of course, there's the frets, which are scratchy, and I hate that, and they're tarnished and all that. But, I mean, they are way far from the worst frets that I've seen. But, yeah, whole thing is dirty and tarnished and all that, so I'm going to be polishing them. But, yeah, first, one of my least favorite parts of the process, which is masking with tape, because I don't have those fretboard guards that, real techs use. Because, yeah, I keep thinking that there's no point to buying the proper tools, because I keep saying that this is going to be the last time that I do this, that I just buy something on an impulse and end up having to spend days and days on end working on it. So, but yeah, probably the next time you see me doing this, I'm going to have proper guards and proper polishing tools, because I'm doing this with steel wool, which I'm not even sure is a Quarterpole 01, because it will leave scratches if you're not very careful. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's whatever steel wool I can get my hands on. So here I am with a magnet picking up all the debris, because Yeah, because it's a mess afterwards if you don't do that. That's a cool method I came up with. Just a Ziploc baggie with a magnet on it, and then you just get rid of the stuff safely, and you throw it away. And so that way you don't end up finding steel shavings months after the fact. So anyway, this is what the frets look like. Of course, this is far from perfect. They're still normal wear from normal use, which I didn't intend to get rid of because this was just polishing and getting a little bit of a shine after getting rid of the tarnish and get rid of that scratchy feeling. There's still some filing marks. I don't know if they're from previous job or just from factory, whatever. I mean, the Fritzl level, they play nice. Even with this thing, the only thing that I would say is you have to be delicate with the way that you work with that thing, because you could easily scratch them along the fret if you're not careful. So yeah, you should ideally get the proper tool, but I mean, and on a pinch, the still will work, and I did get a beautiful result out of that. But yeah, I should probably get the proper tools for doing the job right next time. But yeah, this is night and day, and you definitely owe it to yourself if you've never done it. You just polish the frets. It's gonna feel like a completely different guitar. Not only because you're not gonna hear that scratchy noise that they do when you bend or you vibrato, but it's just everything is so effortless. So yeah, you should definitely polish your frets. It gets rid of that guitar that's been hanging on the store and being played by hundreds of people with dirty hands kind of feeling. Gets rid of that. So yeah, completely different guitar. It just sets you free to just focus on playing and enjoying while you play instead of just fighting the guitar. Okay, time for some cleaning and polishing with Virtuoso. I cannot say enough good things about this stuff. Just every time I use it, I have to mention it. I don't know. I hope someday they see how much I like it and they just send me crates and crates of this stuff. But in the meantime, it's amazing. I found out about this crap while looking for something that was not bad to use on the Nitro on my Les Paul. And after many years, I can confidently say that it's one of the best discoveries that I've ever made. I mean, it's not that it's that obscure of a discovery, but there are so many products out there. But yeah, I mean, it really does get in there and clean, and it's supposed to be both chemically but also very mildly abrasive the way that it works. But it is amazing. And yeah, I don't think I'll ever use anything else again. It's unbelievable. I actually restored my like 50-year-old acoustic guitar that used to be my dad's, and it had like literally like 40 years of gunk. And in a couple hours, I don't know why it had never been cleaned, and one day I decided to do it, and I gave it like a mirror finish. It's amazing. And so here you can see that I went at it with a pick wrapped in this rag that's way beyond its useful life. I should probably get rid of this one. But yeah, it was just for cleaning. And I wrapped a pick and I went at each one of the frets, and it is worth it. It is worth it. You get rid of many years of gunk. But yeah, that black stuff was crap that was, trapped on the sides of the fret. And this thing really helped me get rid of that, which you wouldn't be able to do with just, rubbing alcohol or whatever people use. I mean, or at least it gets rid of that elbow grease component of just going at it and going at it and going at it. This is a proper tool. This is one of the few proper tools that I actually bought to do the work the way you're supposed to do it. And I use it every so often. I mean, you don't really need to use it very often because it really goes in deep. And then if you just use the polishing compound, which is what I'm using here, I mean, you never really need to use the cleaner again. So I go through, I don't know, like three or four polishing ones before I'm done with one of the cleaning ones. So yeah, here I'm just polishing and polishing and polishing and cleaning even the whole of the truss rod thing, because well, even that was incredibly dirty. But yeah, that's what this looks like after using the polishing compound. I mean, it's completely different neck. Even this thing there that I hate doesn't bug me that much anymore, because that's how good the cleaner is. Even made it look smaller. But yeah, and the feel you get from this polishing compound is like nothing else I've tried. Like no Dunlop or Gibson pump or whatever I have. Even on this poly finish, it's like a silky feel that you know how people hate high gloss finishes on their neck because they say they make it sticky. This polishing gets rid of that, and this on a lacquered maple fretboard. Oh my god, it's there's no way to explain it. You just have to do it. You polish your frets, get a couple of these things of Virtuoso, do a deep cleaning of that shit, and then do a very, very intense polishing. And yeah, nothing compares to that. All right, so that was enough babbling for one video. This would be me signing off until the next day, or in this case, the next video, where I'm going to be showing you how I clean all this hardware, including these awfully tarnished saddles, and that's my finger in front of the camera, and all those rusty screws, and even the big chrome pieces that look kind of cloudy. That's all going to go away. It's going to look unrecognizable once I'm done with that. So yeah, that's going to be the focus of the next video. It's just some unconventional methods of cleaning and derusting and detarnishing, at least when it comes to guitars, you know, different from what you see on forums and stuff like that. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.